a butterfly. Things change, and then you die. Things change, like an ocean tide. Things change, as time goes by. Things change, and so do I.
Take an opportunity first. I want to thank you all for being here on behalf of the Radtke family. Particularly Barbara and Stephen, Terry's sister and brother, who can't be here today. We thank you profusely. This is unbelievable. Chris and Jody, you've opened your home up to us. We realize Michael does have friends. It's his family that's here, and we can never thank you enough for that. And we really appreciate that. Matt and Jess, if you end up with 10% of the compassionate friends that they have, they'll be very fortunate. In the last, by phone and in person over the last couple of months here, and it's like family to us, and we are really, really appreciative. What we're going to do is Terry's going to say a couple of words, and then I have a couple of words I'd like to say, and then we'd like to invite anybody who'd like to have anything they'd like to say about Mike, hopefully good. Although Mike would love it if it wasn't. To express, how you feel in your heart, and but we really want to thank you for taking the time. If a man's wealth is measured by his friends and the love of them, then Mike is probably the wealthiest man in the world. And I can tell you right now, you don't know what that does for us. So I thank you. I'm going to ask my wife.
You had to end on that.
Yeah. Oh, and then after we say a few words, hopefully we might have a little bit of music that we could all enjoy if we could call on some of our friends for that, and that would be awesome. So thank you very much.
So if I haven't gotten around to say hello to everybody, I see there's a few faces I haven't said hello to. Thank you so much for coming here today and being part of the celebration of Michael's life. I am Terry. I'm his little sister. I may be a little younger than Michael was, but I'm a lot less musical. Michael had a lot of the musical talent in our family. And I'm also not as good talking off the cuff as Bill. He's an accomplished speaker. Right. So I'm going to read mine. My brother Michael was always a big personality. He was handsome and smart. I can be able to get through this. Funny and, of course, talented. He may have been a computer programmer by day, but it was always about the music for Mike. Whether he was listening to the metronome-like slapping of the windshield wipers or the hum of the dishwasher, I'm telling you, that kid, he was amazing. He was always creating a tune to it. I remember the windshield wipers in one particular instance, and I hear him, he didn't create that tune, but I hear him saying, I remember when they left you and I was on my, it's like he's singing a song. They're coming to take you away, haha. True story. But as kids, he would oftentimes make us, clap out a beat or make a sound. And I remember this just not too long ago when he called and asked me to make a repeated sound and send the video clip, the voice clip to him. And it ended up on the Growler, one of the Growler tracks. So I reminded him of that he used to do that when he was a kid. It was always about the music, from accordion lessons to guitar to repeated replays of Weird Al and his parodies. I still think he was very influenced by that. He always kept the beat of the household going, and in the rest between the music, he would work. And what he would do is he would save his money and he would buy things, and most of it was definitely about music. He would buy his band instruments, and we were going through his things earlier. I actually found, I can't believe he saved it, his AMP tag with his name Mike on it from high school. So it must have been one of his first jobs. But he'd also use it to buy, an amplifier and a harmonica. And actually he bought more than one harmonica, because I remember the second harmonica purchase was because my younger brother Bruce decided to play it while he was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it jammed up. He formed a band in high school called the High Society. And later he renamed it the Magic Bullet. I was definitely their #1 fan, and I silkscreened all their t-shirts for them, and I was interested in art at the time, and I silkscreened his flyers for them. And then he came to me one day with this curious request would I teach him how to sew? And I said, well, what do you mean? He was, well, you know how to sew on the sewing machine. Show me how to sew on the sewing machine. And I said I would, and lo and behold, he was making costumes for the entire band, which was amazing. You know, they matching vests and things like that. Our home became the place to practice for his high school band, and let me tell you, many a cake fell in my mom's kitchen oven under the strains of Midnight Hour, you know, and other cover songs that they would practice. But it was college that introduced Mike to new musician friends, and it was there the nucleus of Mad Fables was born. He never looked back musically, always ahead. And with Mad Fables, Mike and the guys could play original tunes, and the band's style matured, and Michael flourished. He became a different musician and songwriter. Ultimately, Michael found song here in California, along with deep abiding friendships, and for that he was eternally grateful. You may know my brother as Michael, because I tend to call him Michael, or you might know him as Mike, or Mikey, or Mick, or you may even know him as Radtke. But the name may be different, but the generous heart was the same. He was very real, and so is his music. I suppose when we listen to music, we hear the lyrics and the melody, but we rarely notice the tiny moments of silence between the notes, the rest. It's Michael's turn to rest, but I'm ever so fortunate to be able to hear his song. Thank you.
In the 80s, when I first met Mick,
Yeah. See, Nick.
and I call him Mick, I was a young guy in software, so I was on his New Life, which was in computer science and all that kind of stuff. He taught me the ropes. He was just such a hilarious guy. And when I was young, he was such a prankster. One of the things he would do, like, we were always like joking around with the people we were working with, and we were in this really tiny startup called Repair Shop Systems. This is like 1987, and one of the times we would come back from the office, and we would go out to lunch and make it written some program so that the people who were working with us, who were also pretty humorous actually, they would start typing in all the characters were going backwards on the screen, So then we would call this a virus now, and probably not so good, but it was pretty humorous at the time. And then over the course of many years, I worked with Mick at 6 different jobs over 4 decades, and so did Doug. Doug, at some point in the middle of my journey with Mick, we were in a company together that had a really good outcome. But along the way, though, we transitioned into from being these colleagues to being really good friends. And we had this similar love for baseball, which we shared the whole time. Like, for years, we would go to baseball games together, the A's games. He had A's tickets season tickets for a long time. He was very proud of that, along with third base, in kind of the early 90s when he was living in Oakland before he had moved to Berkeley. He always pushed me on the colleague side, like developing my career and making me into a better person as far as my professional career goes. He was awesome at that, and we all shared and benefited from Mick's intelligence. So he was quite the well-rounded guy, from being a comedian to being a counselor. He'd gone to school for counseling. He'd been a stand-up comedian. He was a musician. The guy was like unreal. Like, he would love to tinker with stuff. He was a sports fan. I'm just really gonna miss him. I already miss him.
I met Mike in about 1975. Playing in a local band in Missouri. After going to see the band a number of times, I started suggesting that I could help him out with the sound. And that was sort of the connection. Became part of that band for several years. So we've been friends since 1975. And through the various places that we lived, we both moved to California about the same time in 1978. Mike moved to LA and I moved to San Francisco. And we kept in touch, and I kept convincing him to come up to San Francisco. Finally, after about a year, he did, and we shared a place together for about a year and a half. And he was busy songwriting that time. He would walk around the apartment with his guitar strapped around all day, just thinking of ideas and playing tunes and just being part of it, saying, hey, I really like that, and watch him go in a direction and take it that way. It was nice to see that influence. And lately, having worked with him on the more recent stuff, and it's something that I had hoped for a long time, that we could be kind of producer engineer and work together more, and we were able to do that with Growler, and was really hoping to have more opportunity to do that. So I'm just so lucky to have that.
My name is Doug, and Nick came to work at a startup that I had with Chris in the late 90s, and he was just instrumental in its eventual success. At the time, we were doing internet software, and there really wasn't the tools, that people had that you use today that you sort of take for granted. So we had to build, all these tools to organize how a website would actually look and render on a page, and there wasn't really anything available to do it. So we had to take something that I spent like 2 or 3 years in my basement, basically, writing, which is just like this, mishmash, and go through all of it and structure it and organize it, and come up with his own templating system, which he kind of invented.
I met Mike probably about 2007 after Jody and I got together, and we just hit it off. He was one of those rare people in life that you just have a connection and a deep friendship with. We would make each other birthday cards, and his were so clever. And Jody always complained that we were the bad pun brothers. He's talked about going to baseball games with Mike. Mike and I went twice to spring training baseball in Arizona. Had a great time. When Mike had his CD release party in 2018, he had asked some of his friends and all of his family members to send him a letter about something embarrassing about Mike, and he didn't open them until the concert, and he read them between songs. And the one thing that I wrote is actually embarrassing for both of us. Mike was making a video called Spring Training, the movie, and at one of the ballparks we went to, we would time the speed of your fastball. The theme of this was going to be the oldest man ever to try out for a Major League Baseball team. And so at this one ballpark, I went up, I threw my fastball. It was parked at a blazing 32 miles an hour. Mike was filming it, so that was the embarrassing thing for me. And Mike was filming it, but he left his lens cap on. So it didn't come out, but it was still a fun movie. Losing Mike, it was like losing another brother. He was like a brother to me, and I hope to sing a song that I wrote about my brother, and I'm dedicated to Mike when we play music.
And commuting into San Francisco, and a couple times I'd be over there, and he'd go, "Yeah, do you have any quarters? Do you have any quarters?" And about the second or third time he asked me, I was like, "Why do you keep asking me for quarters?" And he goes, "Oh, he took the public transportation into the city, every day to work, and he'd take a pocket full of quarters, and every homeless person he came to, he gave them a quarter." And to the point that they knew him, and he said, sometimes I'll walk down the street and somebody had gone to the bathroom or something, they'd come, "You forgot my quarter." It just sums up how generous he was. He wasn't somebody who bragged about it. He was just so lovely.
Oh, my brother, it's such a mystery. Why we're here one day, next thing we are gone. No one knows what lies beyond this life, or where we go between the darkness and the dawn. Where do we come from? Where do we go? People will tell
say I don't understand. Why is there sorrow? Why is there pain? I don't see anyone driving the train.
Farther along, we'll know all about it. Farther along, we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Tempted and tried, we're oft made to wonder why it should be thus all the day long, while there are others living among us, never molested, though in the wrong, faithful till death is our loving master. A few more days to labor and wait, and there'll be no more toiling among us when we shall pass through that heavenly gate. Farther along, we'll know all about it. Farther along, we'll understand why. Cheer up, my sisters and brothers, we'll understand it. We'll understand it all by and by.
Where joy will never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have grown, I'll fly away. Like a bird who prison bars has flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Venus is my guide, she's shining like the moon. I'm headed down the back road singing standard bluegrass tunes. Fog is getting thicker, the Ford is in a cloud. My sidekick is a cherubim who sings with me out loud. On the road tonight, I'm on the road tonight. My pedal's down, I'm speeding like a photon from a star. On the road tonight, the devil's out of sight, an angel's on my right. I'm driving for the light. On the road tonight. All the ponderosas are snowing down their needles, swaying in the wind surrounding Grover. Sunlight throws long shadows across the golden meadows. The grass is faded without any clover. A flock of blackbirds crackle as they fly towards the south. All the creatures know that summer's over.
Goodbye, summer.
Goodbye, summer.
Hello, cold.
Hello, cold.
Bones are creaking.
Bones are creaking.
Getting old.
Getting old.
Goodbye, summer.
Goodbye, summer.
Hello, fall.
Hello, fall. I
Miss that summer daylight most of all.
I pick guitar, I pick a rose. I don't pick my battles, but I pick my nose. And it's gonna be the death of me. It's gonna be the death of me. I play a drum, I play a song. I won't play dumb, but I play along. And it's gonna be the death of me. Gonna be the death of me. Death of me, open sesame. It's gonna be the death of me. I stop swearing, I stop for trains. I'll stop my whining if you stop the pain. It is gonna be the death of me. Gonna be the death of me. You smoke a doobie, I smoke a pig. We're smoking beers, but don't smoke a cig. And it's gonna be the death of me. Gonna be the death of me. Death of me, I'm not from Sicily.